Hello, my name is Genice Lee, and I'm an appraiser in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. My specialty is residential contents. It's also known as a generalist. And what that means is that when I come into a home, I'm appraising the items that you typically find in a home. That would be the chair that you sit in, the table that you sit at, clocks, glass, the plates that you eat off of, and the silverware that you eat from. Today I'm going to talk to you about the story behind this piece. I was very excited when I received a phone call from a museum in Philadelphia that was going to be acquiring a piece of work that needed to be appraised for donation. When I received the images on that piece, they were a dark object carved, and I needed to begin to do the research to find out more about the item. I was very intrigued to find that the item was actually sculpted from coal. And as I began my research to find out more about this artist, I found out that Charles Edgar Patience was an African-American sculptor, and that his career began in a coal. And that intrigued me even more. For someone to look at an object that I would perceive to be dirty, and even out of the mundane, everyday work of his life, he was able to look at coal and bring forth a beautiful object and piece of artwork from those pieces. And thus began my adventure and my understanding of who he was as an artist. I was able to come into contact with his daughter, who has written a book on him, and it's entitled Anthracite Coal Art by Charles Edgar Patience. I was able to make an appointment with her and sit down and speak with her about the artwork done by her father. And let me tell you, it was fascinating to find out that this artist's beginning was a family business, that it was something that his father did, that he did, and that this artwork evolved into the piece that you see here. It started with something as simple as these items that you see here. These charms were just an example of the pieces that his family did and sold as a business. And Mr. Patience began to distinguish himself as an artist as he began to do more work in coal. He moved from pieces such as the ones that you see to the larger piece that we have here, the sculpture that is entitled Dolphin, and it is an abstract piece. And I can remember when I saw this piece, I thought to myself, I couldn't believe that it was a piece of coal. Amazing. It reminded me of Shona stone carvings, which are done in stone. And his pieces also included larger examples, such as the one that adorns the front of this book, of an altar that was carved out of coal. And this altar is still in existence in a church up in Pennsylvania today. The other fascinating thing about Mr. Patience is that his artwork went on to be obtained and held in collection by not only museums, but in private collections, collections such as those by President Jimmy Carter and Lady Bird Johnson. How do I identify a piece of work done by the Patience family? One of their signature forms is an example in this box. It is of the heart shape with the leaves in etching around the heart. In closing, I'd like to read an excerpt from his daughter's book where she talks about artwork done by her father. Recently, a close family friend showed me a coal heart she had spied and purchased at a yard sale in New Jersey. Being the only person there who knew what the black stone was, she was curious to learn if it were my father's work and was anxious for my opinion. Once my eyes landed on the 4 small leaves etched on the heart, I knew it was a Patience work. As an appraiser, Mr. Patience's artwork is very significant. If I were to receive a call from a client, I would want to understand the need for an appraisal. In this particular case, if it were for donation, I would be looking at market values and fair market value. Or if the collector wanted to keep the piece in the home and possibly insure it against damage and loss, I would begin to do market search on replacement values. So I hope that you're as intrigued as I was about the artwork of Charles Edgar Patience, and that you'll keep your eye open as you're out there looking around, because you never know, you may come across one of his pieces.